Okay, so the last of the data graphs that we're looking at are the time series graphs. Basically, they are two variables, dependent and the independent, where the independent variable is time. And so we are looking at data gathered over a period of time regularly, whether it's daily, monthly, weekly, whatever. It's used to analyze trends, to make predictions in terms of what will happen. If we have a look at this graph right here, you'll see that this is actually the Dow Jones index for the last 12 years. You'll see that you can actually track through the years how the Dow Jones has gone. We can see that it was a bit stagnant here through the 2016. We can see that it was quite low down at the end of 2009. But up here in 2020, there was a huge drop-off. We know, of course, that the coronavirus hit and the stock markets really took a dip. So these time series graphs are very useful. Here is, for example, unleaded petrol prices in America over a number of years. One of the interesting things is that this section here, there was no positive or negative growth. It's referred to as being stationary. So that's this instance of nothing really sort of happening. It's just going up and down, kind of zigzagging along its way. This part here is negative growth. This part here is some very fast positive growth. The prices shot right up over a period of a couple of years. And since then, with the exception of a little dip here, it's been quite sort of stationary again. Next graph we'll have a look at is the graph of carbon dioxide, and it's the emissions in Australia. And you can see that over the years there has been a very strong association with these two variables. We have positive growth just about in a straight line. It's almost it's linear, basically. The only exception is this tiny little end bit here where when climate change started to become a bit of an issue in 2010, it sort of turned it around. We only have data to 2014, so we don't know beyond that. So let me show you how to actually create one of these. Here's some data. Australian birth rate over time from 1960 all the way up to 2018. So I'm going to select both sets of data here. Once I have both of those sets of data selected, I'm going to insert my graph, and underneath where we would normally put our scatter graph, we find a straight line graph. Now obviously this graph would need a little bit of work. It needs titles and it needs axis titles, and we can still add in our trend line, our line of best fit, our regression, and we can see here that the overall birth rate for Australia over the years has been negative growth. So with a couple of exceptions, just back before 1970 and in the mid 2000s, like 2005, around there, this was the baby bonus. People were getting money for having babies, so that's why that one has gone back up. So that's our time series graphs. Very useful. You get quite rich if you're good at interpreting these in the stock market, that's for sure.